And the Quran teaches us that when you see your book, you will say, woe is me. It did not leave out anything. So if it won't leave out anything for us, it certainly won't leave out anything for the government and people of the United States of America. Now there's a real problem with us in that we all believe in God. Most of us do. Some of us have gotten so disappointed with the way organized religion is carried out that we would stay away from church, stay away from the mosque, stay away from synagogue or wherever, because we lump all religions pretty much in the same boat. Those who are disaffected and alienated from religion. But even the hardest heart, when you get right down to it, we all believe that there is a supreme being. That is very important, that we all believe that there is a power that is over this universe and has power over all things. Okay. But here's the problem. We think so little of ourselves that we don't think that God would be interested in the affairs of black people. And that's why I mentioned last Sunday how much I love to listen to preachers on television. They really preach this Bible beautifully, the great ones, white and black. And if you go to any masjid and listen to the imams, they really preach this Quran beautifully. Most of them that study preach this Quran with absolute beauty. But here's what I've noticed. Nobody mentions the transatlantic slave trade and our 400-year sojourn in America and compares it to the utterances of the prophets in both these books. Now, if you don't know where you fit, the book has a connection to you, but it is a weak connection, a tangential connection. But when you know where you fit in these books, then the books become real to you. So today, this Bible that we've been nurtured on, I want to make it so real to you that you would prefer to read it over any other novel or any novel. And those of us who read Quran, we want to make this Quran so real to you that you will pull it down from wherever you have it and dust it off and become a reader every day of the words of God. Now this book, Bible, this is the King James Version. There are many, many versions. And you see an accident out there, a lot of people look at it, and the adjuster will come and ask you, what did you see? And you saw what you saw, and somebody else saw what they saw, so they all give a different version sometimes. So a version of the truth is not necessarily the truth. It is one man's version of the truth that has been translated out of its original tongue. Listen to me. And since you don't know Aramaic or Hebrew or Arabic, neither do I, how do we know that they're faithful to the text? This book, Quran, tells us that the Jews, some of them, added in and added out some things they didn't like. Well, what is there about the Word of God that you shouldn't like, even if it condemns you? Its condemnation of us is for our betterment. So if they've added in and added out, several books of the Bible are not even in here. So the Quran was revealed. It came after the Bible, but this book was revealed as a verifier of the truth of this book. So that when you read the Quran and read the Bible, the Quran corrects the Bible. My Bible don't need correction. I know. You got that version that don't need any correction. Since I don't know Arabic, I have to rely on a translation. And this language, Arabic and Hebrew, some of the oldest languages in existence, they are so mathematically precise that if you don't know these minor nuances, you could mistranslate. So even a translation may not be so high. It comes near, but it may not be the exact. But what we have been taught from Master Farad Muhammad through his servant, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, gives us insight so that we can speak with authority on these books by the grace of God. Now let's go. I asked myself the question, why don't Jewish theologians talk about the transatlantic slave trade? Why don't Christian theologians talk about it? And why don't Muslim theologians talk about it? Is it because in the minds of Christians, Muslims, and Jewish scholarship, we don't exist? I want you to really think with me. Because that movie, The Spook, that sat by the door, is very real. I mean, you're present, but you're absent. Here we are filling up churches, filling up mosques, filling up synagogues, filling up temples all over the world, but nobody addresses what has happened to us from the mouth of the prophets. That's why I said last week, the prophets saw the transatlantic slave trade. Anything that horrible that has taken the lives of from 15 million to 100 million black people. Somebody had to see it. Somebody had to record it. And if God said to Moses, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and a life for a life, if you see yourself as a nigger unworthy of God, then God can't exact retribution on white people for what they did to black people, because they just killed something that ain't worth nothing. But once you know that you are worth something, if not in the eyes of man, certainly in the eyes of your Creator, then he also recorded the horror of that transatlantic slave trade. Millions of Africans ripped away from Africa, huh? Not a little number, a pretty big number. It decimated the African continent. And according to what I will go over with you today, these people didn't just take